We're back with more Scooby-Doo Apocalypse. Long story short, the end of the world has happened and the Scooby Gang has come together to fight against it, the real end of the world, not a guy in a mask. Though it would be weird if this entire story turned out to be everyone in a mask. Anyway, we're going to continue bringing you 2 to 3 issues at a time, bringing you cliffhangers, but telling you what's going on in the story. That makes it easier for us to bring you lesser-known comic books, but at the same time, it allows you to enjoy the plot. Click the link down below to start the entire Scooby-Doo storyline over, and if you're just here to see what's going to happen next, enjoy. The following morning, Velma wakes up in a cold sweat after having a nightmare. She leans up, rubbing her head, stating that it was astonishing what a fever of a 103 can do to your brain. But the nightmare felt so real. All those monsters felt real. Velma stocks up on medicine as if she's getting ready to leave, and she thinks that Daphne is probably thinking how she's going to kill her, but she can't let that happen. Not if she's going to undo what has been done, if it can be undone. Velma yells at herself, saying no, she can't question her resolve now. Her hubris destroyed the world, now it's time to save it. Later that night, while the monsters chase after Velma, she sighs, asking why she didn't bring a gun. Oh wait, she knows why. Because she's an idiot. One of the monsters manages to rip the top of the bus off that she's driving and ends up driving into the side of a cliff. Another speeds up, rolling onto it and crushing it, barely giving Velma time to escape. Before she can even finish her sentence, the monster's head explodes and Shaggy slides down the cliff, shouting, "Don't just stand there, run!" As Velma starts climbing up, she says that she doesn't understand why are they saving her, and Daphne tells her, just shut up so you can focus on shooting things. Daphne walks back up stating that those were monster trucks. Literally, monster trucks. Can you believe that? Velma says that she presumes they read the documents on the laptop and they know that all of this is because of her. She was the one who designed the nanites. Daphne tells her, yeah, but the question is, what is she going to do about it? Velma then asks why come after her, to punish her, to make her pay for what she's done? Daphne stares for a moment and then hugs Velma, telling her to never do that again. And after a good shake, Daphne says that it's okay to hug her back, you know. Velma tells her that physical intimacy has never been her forte, but she'll give it a shot. Later, as everyone heads back to the van, Velma says again that she is still confused after everything that she's done. And Daphne tells her that while they know that they were misguided, her intentions were noble. It doesn't mean that she doesn't bear some responsibility, but the past is the past, and now it's time for them to go save the world. Meanwhile, over in Seattle, one of the 4 sits in his tower, watching the monsters rampage throughout the city. As he watches, he thinks to himself, what a mess. And I have my idiot family to blame for this. I loved my brothers, and while my mother was off nursing her alleged nervous breakdowns and our father was terminally self-involved, we've created an unbreakable bond. We were the 4, born to privilege and power, and my father said that we would be kings of this world. Each of us flew up the ladder of success to each of our respective professions. Hugo was an army general. Cheeves rose to be one of the most beloved and influential senators. Quentin joined the intelligence services in a role so critical and sensitive that he has no public title. And as for me, Rufus T. Dinkley, I'm simply the greatest businessman to ever live. The Dinkley brothers have an unshakable faith in themselves and their destiny, and the complex sounded like a splendid idea at the time. As his brothers turned to nurture the dreams of a better world, how could their dreams enrich him, expand his empire, give him more control over the brainless rabble out there? As Rufus continues thinking to himself, his wife Daisy says that it seems that Dr. Kapoor is acting up again. Rufus says, why are all the geniuses so high-strung? Hell, you should have seen Velma. But my annoying sister is either dead or worse, and Kapoor is our only hope at beating this. Rufus then walks into the next room where Kapoor is tied to a chair and he asks what is the problem. Kapoor shouts that the problem is that he's been held prisoner for weeks. We have. And Rufus stops him, telling him, whine, whine, whine. You're one of the complex's greatest minds and I want solutions. Kapoor yells, I just need food and rest. I can't think straight like this. And Daisy comes in telling him that she just wanted to let him know that she had taken her pills and is going to go rest for a little while now. As Daisy leaves, Rufus says that he was planning on divorcing her before all of this happened. But she intrigues him, so no. Like, why didn't she transform like the rest of them? Why didn't they? Kapoor shouts that he doesn't know, and Rufus just slams his head into the keyboard, yelling that it's his job to know. Rufus straightens his tie, stating, oh well, another one dead. I just need to find where I put the other scientists. Elsewhere in Seattle, the gang arrives and Daphne asks Velma why does she think that they did it. Also the original design of the nanites. And Velma says that is not a pertinent question. Her vision was to use the nanites to weed out the baser instincts of humanity. But they do know that her brothers attempted to use her technology to create a world of easily controlled sheep who would mindlessly do their bidding. But the problem is they don't know why they did that. When the nanites were dispersed, they instead infected the populace like a toxic plague, mutating everyone with rare exceptions. The files that she uncovered indicate that while her brothers were overriding the nanites' programming, they inadvertently amplified the nanites' already formidable capacity for independent thought. Why did the nanites actually change their own mission? And now we're hoping that my brother Rufus can help us find the answer? Velma then says that even though her brothers are devoted to each other, Rufus only cares about himself. He would betray them in a heartbeat if he viewed them as a threat to his self-interest. Back with Rufus, he sits in his balcony looking at a monster firing his gun, grazing the monster's shoulder. And Daisy tells him, "Why would you do that? You just made it angry." And Rufus shouts, "What are you talking about? I killed the beast." And what Rufus Dinkley says is true. Daisy backs up stating, "Of course. Perfect shot." Rufus heads back inside, stating that it's time for them to check on Dr. Kapoor and check on the progress with, but Daisy stops him, telling him, "Don't you remember you killed him along with Dr. Williams?" Rufus hits Daisy to the ground, telling her that she is upsetting him, and she knows how much he hates it when she upsets him. Has she been cutting down on her pills? She wipes the blood from her nose, saying that she doesn't want to take them anymore. Things get too confusing, and Rufus shouts, "Take the damn pills." Back out of the streets, Velma points at one of the buildings, stating that there it is, Dinkley Tower. And as the group moves closer in, Scooby begins to growl when Shaggy sees the doorway. Around the entrance are cut up monster parts, and Daphne says that it looks like a shrine of some sort. As she gets closer, she checks in the bodies and says they're still warm, which means whatever happened not that long ago. As everyone sneaks in, Shaggy asks why haven't any of the alarms gone off? And Velma says because they don't hear anything doesn't mean that there haven't been any alarms going off. Knowing Rufus, he's probably watching them right now. He's an arrogant bully and a braggart. Daphne then says that if he's listening, he would have heard her say that. Velma tells her, "Rufus knows exactly how I feel about him," which is the exact same way that he feels about me. Over in Rufus's office, he sits on a computer watching his brother Hugo shoot himself and says a military hero took the coward's way out. His own brother, a pathetic suicide. Suddenly, Rufus hears something and he runs to the balcony to see a horde of monsters swarming in front. He shouts that it looks like he sparked a movement. "These are my beasts. They won't attack me. They love me." But outside of the office, Shaggy, Daphne, Velma, and Scooby find a door with just a bunch of random things pushed in front of it. Daphne says that it doesn't seem like much of a barricade, and Velma begins to climb on top of it. Shaggy asks what she's doing, and Velma knocks on the door and says, "The obvious choice." She looks back at the door and says, "You don't think that if they get in, Rufus told the monsters don't knock? Looks like the non-mutants can get past his security systems." Daisy then says, "Hello?" And Velma says, "That's Daisy, Rufus's 7th or 8th wife. I don't know anymore." Velma shouts, "It's your sister-in-law. Open up the door." And Daisy asks if it's really her. Then Rufus says, "I know that irritating voice anywhere. Open the door and get clear." Daisy tells him to wait, and Rufus cocks his gun, sighing, asking, "Do you not understand simple instructions? Open the damn door." Then the gun goes off 3 times. Can you guys believe that it was Old Man Jenkins by the barn with the wrench? No, I think that's a game of Clue. Anyway, Scooby-Doo Apocalypse is one of my favorite other comic book series out there. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are as well. Now, in the comments down below, let me know what you enjoyed about Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel to keep up to date on the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse storyline that is going on. I know I've said Scooby-Doo Apocalypse a dozen times. It's actually Scooby Apocalypse. I know that. But it doesn't click as well. If I say Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, you get it. Anyway, click this right here for that playlist. Click over here for something recommended by YouTube. And don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at Comicstorian, where I will bring you single tweet reviews as I read the comics. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time right here.